Hello, my name is Mr. Muzio. I am Deputy Head Teacher for Curriculum Assessment at Eden Park High School, and I'll be taking you through this presentation. We're mainly going to be looking at the baseline data you should have received home this week regarding the assessments that were sat in August or September. But I also will be just going through some general information about curriculum assessment to make you aware of that before we go any further into the school year. So I'd like to start by just giving a brief overview about our curriculum. If you haven't done so yet, please do visit our school website and go to the curriculum tab, which you can find just here. Within the curriculum side, you can find information about every single subject area and what they'll be following in year 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way through to when they finish the school. You'll also find information about specifics that relates to Key Stage 3, and a bit further down the page you'll find information regarding to independent learning and enrichment as well. So please do take a moment if you haven't done so yet to familiarise yourself with that site, with that web page, because it does go through a lot of key information relating to how we approach our curriculum for as a whole school. With regards to assessment, just some key information to start with. For those of you who aren't aware, the old grading system, which is here, has been replaced now by a new grading system, which is here. So instead of getting a grade A star to G, they now receive a grade 9 to 1. As you can see, a 7 is roughly equivalent to an A, and a 4 is roughly equivalent to a C. An A star is similar to a 9 and an 8 now, and a B is equivalent to what we now have as a 5 or a 6 around there. Throughout your time, your child's time at Eden Park High School, we always report 3 times each year. So children are assessed at the end of each term, which builds into a larger assessment at the end of the summer term, and you will receive an academic report at the end of each of these assessments. That will contain a number saying what grade they're currently working at in that subject from 9 to 1. And it also will have a attitude to learning grade A to D. So A being a higher, D being lower. Some schools refer to that as an effort grade. You also have a parent day in February, which you'll be able to attend, and you'll have a chance to meet your child's class teachers and talk through how well they've done this year. You know, it's a parent day instead of parent evening. The reason we do that is because we have a longer school day, and it's more effective to run it as a parent day rather than a parent's evening, so parents have the chance to meet all the children, all the teachers of their children. Before I explain how to read the reports you received about the baseline assessments, I just want to make 4 very important points. 1, the assessments that sat were a snapshot at that moment in time for that child. And obviously we've just gone through a very difficult time over the last 6 months with schools being closed, and it's an unprecedented time not seen before in education. So it's a snapshot in time during obviously a very difficult time. So when we receive the data from these assessments, we have to keep this in mind. However, it is a good starting point to begin to look at where each child needs further support with and where their areas of strength are as well. And we need to know that information sooner rather than later, so we can make sure we've got the support programs in place for each child. You'll see in the reports that it does provide a prediction for future attainment. It'll say things like what they should be getting when they get to their GCSEs based on how well they answer the questions on this baseline assessment. Obviously, this is based on an average future prediction for that child with similar scores. At Eden Park, we pride ourselves on our children having a very positive attitude towards their learning and having an excellent work ethic. So we like to think our children will always achieve above what is seen as being the average for future attainment. And obviously, again, you have to keep in mind that this is they set these assessments at a very challenging time. So how valid those predictions are at this point in time is is questionable. Lastly, obviously, you'll see in the reports it draws comparisons against national data. Now, just to kind of put that into context, that's based on the national, as in what is the normal national, so over the last few years. Again, because it's been a very challenging year, you might find that how they relate to national might be lower than you might be expecting, because we've had to kind of had this period of schools being closed. So how to understand the Cat 4 assessments. So within the report, you will have a visual representation, which is here, which shows the 4 key areas that are assessed in the Cat 4 assessment. And through this, you can visually see where their areas of strength and maybe areas for development could be. Now, the yellow area, I'm just highlighting here, this yellow area is based on that child's age, where they should be scoring at this point in time. It's called a standardized age score. If they score between 90 and 110, they're roughly around the kind of area where they should be scoring for their age group. If they're scoring below that, at the moment they're scoring just slightly below where they should be for their age. If they're scoring above 110, yeah, they're into a more advanced territory for their age group. You also see that on the report it gives indicators for GCSE. So you can see on this report here for English language and English literature, it's saying, based on these scores they've achieved, these scores here they've achieved, it's saying that they should be most likely will achieve a grade 4.9, so nearly a grade 5 is the most likely outcome for that child. And please bear in mind what I said before, one, these assessments were sat at a very challenging time and an unprecedented time. And also, this is based on an average. Okay, these are based on averages, and we do pride ourselves on our children performing above the average. You're having a very positive and a very strong work ethic, which ensures they achieve beyond what is seen as being average for them. So these explain each of those 4 areas that I said were assessed within Cat 4. So you've got the 4 areas here, and the explanations next to each one just give a little bit of an insight as to, if they're stronger in those areas, how it might help them in school, and if they've got areas for development in those areas, what it might have an impact on within their subject-based curriculum. For the progress test in English report you would have received, again, you see this SAS score, standing for Standardized Age Score. And the same applies as the Cat 4. This child's got 113, which means they are just above what the age-related expectation is. Again, between 90 to 110 is they're working at what their age-related expectation is. Anything above 110 is more advanced. Anything below 90 is they're below their age-related expectation at this point in time. Okay, you've got an overall ST grade, which it gives a grade given by geo assessment, and it means if they're above a grade 5, again, they're working at a more advanced level for their age group. And then NPR stands for National Percentage Ranking. So in this example, a score of 80 means they're in the top 20% for their age group. And again, a GCSE indicator. So based on the score they achieved in the progress test for English, suggesting at the end of Key Stage 4, that child should be getting a grade 6.2. So roughly a grade 6, possibly a grade 7. Again, that's just based, again, I'll stress it again, about average prior attainment. And going through the progress test English in a bit more detail, again, you'll see here about the curriculum content category. And what this side of the report does, it helps us identify if there's any specific areas that a child might need further support in. For example, in this example here, you can see the student answered of the spelling questions 27% of them correctly, and nationally, children normally get about 50% of them correctly, meaning they're 23% below. But here they can see they're above in their non-narrative comprehension, and also above for grammar and punctuation as well. So it helps us drill down to saying, okay, this child might need a bit more support with their spelling in English, and possibly some support with their narrative and their reading comprehension here as well. For the progress test in maths, again, you've got this scale from 60 to 140, and this yellow box here again, which we saw earlier in the Cat 4. Again, anywhere between 90 and 110 is they're working at age-related expectations. This child here scored 110, which puts them here, which means they're right at the top of that age-related expectations, nearly into the kind of more advanced area just here. Okay, you've got the ST grade. Again, it's above a 5, so they're working at a more advanced level than expected for their age group. And the NPR here is got a grade 74, which means they're in the top 26% nationally. And then the end of Key Stage 2 indicator. This is quite a useful piece of information considering the children didn't sit their Key Stage 2 assessments this year. Here you can see they scored 108. That means GEO assessments who organise these tests for us, they suggest that if the child was to sit their Key Stage 2 assessments, they would have scored approximately 108. For those that aren't aware, the Key Stage 2 assessments, so the SAT results, go from 80 to 120, and 100 is a roughly age-related expectations. Okay, so in this example, 108 would mean there are more advanced than age-related expectations. If a child scores above 110, that's classified as greater depth. And then more information on the progress test for maths. Again, similar to the English progress test, you've got the curriculum content category here. And again, it helps us drill down on where those areas of strength or possibly areas for development are for each child. So you can see that the strongest area for this child is this 33% here. They're 33% above where children are normally nationally for algebra. They're in line roughly with ratio and proportion, but you can see here it's the area that maybe needs the most focus for this child compared to all the other different categories covered so far. So I hope you found this presentation useful. Should you need any more information or you've got any questions to ask about the baseline data, please do not hesitate to drop me an email. You can see my email on the screen now, or my phone number is there as well. It's the school phone number. If you ask to be put through to me, I'll put you through to my extension, and I'll be more than happy to talk you through any questions that you might have. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to working with you in the future.